Module 10 assignment, a collaborative group project at Group A. Pablo Picasso's La Vie.
Hello, I'm Joyce Dusek. I'm a sophomore majoring in computer science. La Vie relates with my personal life and academic life, as it's a reminder that life is full of struggles and hardships. This painting also brings to mind an emotional difficulty I faced when I lost my childhood dogs. This period was incredibly painful, knowing you'll never be able to see them again no matter how much you want to was very difficult, and I can tell Picasso probably felt the same way about his best friends. La Vie was created by Pablo Picasso in Barcelona, Spain in 1903 on an oil canvas. The formal element I chose was lighting. Picasso uses lighting to intensify the emotional tone of La Vie, using cool blues and muted tones to dominate the overall color palette, creating a dark, sad atmosphere that reflects the emotional state he was in at the time. He uses lighting to softly brighten certain figures, emphasizing the nude woman and the baby. This soft spotlight creates a contrast with their pale skin and the darker background, showing their emotional and symbolic significance. The use of this spotlight helps portray intimacy and vulnerability, while also creating a depth that emphasizes tension and emotional distance. The shadows created also adds depth and dimension, making the piece feel dreamlike but also realistic. Picasso guides the viewer's eyes across the canvas and creates an emotional and symbolic complexity. Picasso uses lighting to deepen the viewer's engagement to the piece. These are the sources I used. Thank you.
So, my name is Tian again. I'm a health administration major. I'm a freshman. And this piece of art really reminds me of the times of my life where I've struggled with relationships, whether it be with my parents or other relationships with friends and whatnot. So, regarding the space in this painting, Picasso uses space in a very intentional way to invoke emotion and psychological depth. The composition is completely flat or quite flat, with a compressed, shallow space that brings the figures close to the picture plane. There's very little sense of depth or background, which creates a feeling of emotional isolation and confinement, which is especially noticeable in the way the figures are placed while the couple on the left physically touch. Their faces are distant and introspective, suggesting emotional disconnection despite the physical closeness. Overall, Picasso uses space not to build a realistic scene, but to enhance the emotional gravity and somber tone of the piece, turning spatial relationships into metaphors for human disconnection and sorrow. This really feels like my relationship with my parents, that physical space and the emotional space as well from this painting really reflects that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lara Darden. My major is business marketing and I'm a freshman. So, how this connects to me is the artwork tells a powerful story rooted in a very sorrowful period of Picasso's life. I think that he was dealing with feeling alone and being alone, and I think it shows the detachment from your significant other or just people in general. The image reminds me of when I lost a close friend, and it can be very lonely. The title La Vie means life in French, and I think it kind of means the deep feelings that come with living in general, the good, the bad, the grief, the loss, birth, and death. So my element was shape, and Picasso uses the element of shape in the painting with elongated kind of figures and rigidness to create an uptight image of humans in distress. Very melancholy. The shape of the expression of the woman's stiff posture kind of reflects numbness, emotional numbness, while the sharp lines enhance the feeling of chaos. So through shape, Picasso conveys the deep emotional weight and trauma. So you really feel the depth of the scene. There's a contrast between the shape of the adults and also the mother and the child, which was in the last photo. The mother and the child are more rounded, which is more of like an innocent kind of vibe to it, while the man and the woman are it shows a lot of rigidness and tension, which kind of implies that there's a lack of warmth and detachment here. This is a very sad painting, and it shows the struggles of relationships and lack of emotional connection. So thank you.
My name is Jen De Rosa. I'm a multimedia student in film, and I chose this piece because I relate to it on a deeper level. We lost my brother a few years ago, and Due to the circumstances, he was pronounced as a suicide, but we refuse to believe that. The painting relates to mortality and suicide, which hit me at that deeper level, which is why I have a connection to it. The brushstrokes on Picasso's Levy layer cool blues and muted greens roughly into the fabric surface. The background arches have a repeating curve pattern that echo the rounded figures of the mother and the child. However, the foreground figures are defined with smooth, long strokes, and their clothing is defined with vertical lines. This plays on rough versus smooth, curved versus linear. It creates a rhythm between the textures and the pattern of the painting.